In the last video, we discussed about radioactivity, correct? Now, you're going to understand what are the radiations, an unstable nucleus is going to emit. A very simple thing. Now, there are three types of radiation: alpha rays, beta rays, gamma rays. Let's understand these three rays in detail, like what they are, what are the properties of these rays, and what exactly is going to happen. Okay, now first let's talk about alpha rays. Alpha rays are very common, very important. Not important as such, it's most like all the properties of alpha rays are known. Okay, now an alpha ray is basically helium nucleus. In very simple terms, that means it has a doubly ionized helium nucleus. This is basically an alpha particle. Okay, there are certain properties of alpha particle what you guys have to understand. Okay, now guys, most of them are very simple. We talk about the penetrating power, we talk about the ionizing power. Okay, so see, these are the properties of alpha particles, which I want you guys to make a note of it. I want you guys to understand these properties. Okay, now here look at the properties. One of the properties says that it has very high ionizing power. Ionizing power in the sense what? The alpha particle moves through a gas, suppose let's say, and the gas becomes an ionized gas. That means as and when it is moving, it basically ionizes the surroundings. Okay, if you have a neutral body, if an alpha particle passes through it, that body becomes an ionized body. Okay, so this is one of the properties of alpha particle. And another one, see, it says that it affects the photographic plate. In the sense, suppose if alpha particle hits a photographic plate, it causes the fluorescence. That that violet, like a fluorescent green color you must have seen, right? That's alpha particle. Okay, now alpha particle is affected by both electric as well as magnetic fields, because it's a charged particle, and a charged particle which is moving. So obviously it is affected by both electric and magnetic fields. So these are certain properties of alpha particles. Okay, and I want you guys to memorize these properties of alpha particle. Pick any four, the easier ones, whichever you feel easier. Pick any four, memorize those four properties of alpha particles. The next one, beta rays. Now, beta rays are fast moving electrons. Okay, now when we talk about fast moving electrons, now you must be thinking, we are talking about nuclear emission, right? Alpha particle, beta particle, alpha ray, beta ray and everything. We know that, see, alpha ray, you have protons and neutrons. Proton neutrons are a part of nucleus. They come out quite easy. Electrons are not part of nucleus. So how does a nucleus emit an electron? How? We are going to understand this just a few videos later on. But still, beta rays do come from the nucleus. Okay, and beta rays are fast moving electrons. And how do we know that? Because look at these properties. In this only you guys can figure it out. So easy. Beta rays have a charge of minus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. Which other particle has the same charge? Electron. Correct? And they come at a speed of 33 to 99% the speed of light. Again, a heavier body can never do this. It means it has to be an electron. Correct? Look at the other properties also. Very similar. They have ionizing power, but not as ionizing as an alpha particle. They do ionize, but then not so much. Okay? And also, see, they have more penetrating power than that of an alpha particle. Correct? And rest of the properties, they almost coincide. See, both of them, this also affects the photographic plate. These also are affected by both electric and magnetic field. Isn't it? So these are some of the properties of beta particles, or beta rays you can call it. Please memorize any four properties of beta particles or beta ray. Let's move on to the next one, which is a gamma ray. See, gamma ray, these are type of electromagnetic radiation which has the highest frequency or the lowest wavelength. You have learnt about gamma rays in EM waves chapter. Still, it's just a recall. EM waves have the highest frequency and they have the least wavelength. Their wavelength is around 0.01 to 0.1 angstrom. Very, very, very less. Now, since it's an electromagnetic wave or it's an electromagnetic ray, you can call it either way, the properties of electromagnetic rays is going to apply to this gamma ray also. Okay, so look at the properties of gamma rays. See, they have very high energy, correct? They have the highest penetrating power and they have the least ionizing power. They do not ionize at all. Okay, and look at the next one. They are not affected by both electric and magnetic fields. It's not possible at all because they're EM waves. They're like light. Since we are talking about light, they travel with the speed of light, 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. Isn't it? Quite obvious. And they can knock out electrons from the orbits of atom. Because they are so energetic, they can knock out electrons out of the orbit. These are certain properties of gamma rays. Please remember any 4 of the properties of gamma rays. Now that you have understood alpha, beta, gamma, guys, remember alpha rays, they have the highest ionizing power and they have the least penetrating power. You know, even a thin sheet of paper that can stop an alpha ray. That less penetrating power they have. Second, beta rays. Beta rays, they have a little ionizing power, but they have a little more penetrating power compared to that of alpha ray. Correct? So, if you take an aluminium sheet, a few millimeter thick, maybe like 2 mm aluminium or 3 mm aluminium, that sort of aluminium that can stop a beta ray. The last one, gamma ray has very high penetrating power, very, very high. They do not ionize at all, but they can have very high penetrating power. To stop a gamma ray, we need concrete or we need steel. Okay, so generally we use concrete. So we need few centimeters thick concrete to stop a gamma ray. Look at the size comparison from a paper to thin aluminium to concrete. Isn't it? So gamma ray has the highest penetrating power, alpha ray has the least penetrating. Whereas the other way around, alpha ray has the highest ionizing power, gamma ray has the least ionizing power. So these are the 3 radiations what an unstable nucleus is going to emit during the process of radioactivity. Now let's discuss about laws of radioactivity in the next upcoming video.